thing. If you manage that, you know what you're finally going to be able to do? You're finally going to be able to live in the present. You're finally going to be able to get up in the morning, start your day, and just have a day. And be satisfied with it. And be 100% all in on that day. I love that moment where he has the poison one, and then he's trying to give it to Hamlet. Hamlet's like, one more. I'm not too thirsty yet. And then the queen's like, ooh, I'm thirsty. and the Clyde is like, no, don't drink it. She's like, I'm gonna drink it. He's like, uh-oh. Too late. So it's just, all of the king's plotting and planning has resulted in the just like haphazard, random, pointless death of the one he did this whole thing for. All of his scheming led to the one thing he just couldn't predict, which is that she'd be a little thirsty that morning. It's like, it's kind of this wild, like, once again, how much are you going to plan stuff in your life? How much did Hamlet plan stuff? I think here's the notable part about this ending that I want to make sure I shared with you. I find it so fascinating that Fortinbras comes onto the scene at the end. Who is Fortinbras? He's not the planner. Fortinbras is the man of action. He comes onto the scene at the end, and what does he find? He finds the schemers, the plotters, and the planners all wallowing in their own blood. That's what he finds. He finds a room full of dead bodies from all the people that thought they could just think their way to success. They could just scrutinize the details, analyze what to do, study carefully, think hard, plot, scheme, plan their way to success. And they often overthink, they overplot, they overplan, and the result is, and what you learn by the end is, they had no chance the whole time because there were just too many factors. They couldn't figure it all out. You can't predict the future. Same thing with the nature of death that Hamlet struggles with the whole time. He's trying to predict the future. Is it a good dream? Is it a bad dream? Where are we all headed? And in some ways, the answer is not to even ask that question. Because the point is, you're heading there anyway. You can't figure it out. There's a veil that you can't see behind, separating this world from the next. And so what you have to do, and this is kind of what Fortinbras does, you have to live in the present. It's a cliche, but it's a profound cliche. You have to follow your heart. That's what Fortinbras does. He follows his heart. His love for his dead father moves him just to act. And he doesn't think too much about it, and the result is the smoothest path in history is just paved before him. He doesn't have to fight for it even, he just walks in.
Well, he might be a little disappointed.
Yeah, maybe, but for him, it's like, what happened here? And Horatio's like, oh boy, I'll tell you. And for Fortinbras, he just walks into his enemy's castle and he can just sit right on the throne because they've already all killed each other. Planning, plotting, scheming. I think about this, I was thinking about this on my way in because you're all seniors and you're heading out and you're making your plans and you're applying for colleges and you're asking me to write you letters of recommendation on the fly. And fair enough. This is so relevant to you, this play, actually. Because it's so easy to overthink some of that stuff. It's so easy to overplan. It's so easy to plot. It's so easy to say, well, if I think hard enough about it, I'll know exactly what I'm supposed to do. But the problem is, and this is the problem that arises for Hamlet in the play, and I think it's kind of it's very relevant. Well, I'm not saying not to use your head, but I am telling you that your head doesn't have all the answers. Like if you're trying to figure out what to do with your life, I firmly believe, and I've been living my life this way, you really have to do what you love. You have to do what you love. You can't just sit in a room and say, I'm going to think out the very best way to do everything, and then I'm just going to go do it, and that's going to be my plan. I'm going to set my goal. I'm going to go reach that goal, and it's going to be all smooth and easy. It's like, well, I'm not saying don't set goals, but when you're choosing a goal, here's a way of putting it, there isn't a right path. There's a right path for you. you're an individual, you're a person, God has a unique plan for your life. And if you say, I'm just gonna think out the right path to go on, if there were one right path, we'd all just be doing the same stuff. But there's a plan for you and for your life, and in order to figure out what that is, you, with absolute scientific certainty, rational certainty, you would have to know yourself perfectly. And you don't. You are a great mystery. To yourselves, certainly to me. To the people around you, you're a mystery. You're complicated. And you don't know all that you're capable of. You don't know all that you're made of. You would also have to know, with perfect scientific certainty and without great ignorance, the world that you're living in. And you don't know what's out there. You don't know, there is infinite mystery in the nature of a fly. There are so many unknowns about what's out there and the circumstances and what's going to happen tomorrow and how our country will change and how our state will change, how our world will change, what options will be available to you, what will not, what paths open up, what doors close. Can you predict that? You could obsess and go mad, go insane trying to figure all that out so that you never take a step the wrong place, so that you never trip, so that you never stumble, so that you never fail. You could go mad trying to do it, plot everything out, but you'll find yourself in a straitjacket in a foam room somewhere doing that. You would also have to know, here's the faith-based perspective, you'd have to know God's will perfectly. And is he at all mysterious to you? Because, again, you're not just trying to do the thing that makes sense for you in your life on a natural level. Hopefully, you're trying to follow God's will for your life. Before he formed you in the womb, he knew you, and he appointed you for something. And if you don't know God with perfect scientific certainty and exactly what he wants for you in your life, how are you going to be able to just think yourself down the right path? No, at a certain point, I think you kind of have to follow your heart. At a certain point, I'm not saying don't use your brain, but at a certain point, you have to just take what has been shown to you, take what you do know, and then just go with what you love. And on a practical note, I don't know that you could really do anything else anyway. Because if you choose something you don't love, you're going to run out of motivation to do it. If you choose to invest your life into something that you don't even love just because someone told you it makes sense on paper, they ran the analysis and rationally this was the best option. Economically, this is what makes sense. They weighed all the factors and figured out, net gain, it's best to go this way, to choose this major, to marry this person, to follow this career. And then you wake up one day and you find, okay, I'm now in this career that I decided 5 years ago was the best one for me, and I have, constructed all the circumstances in my life in this rational, ordered manner, and I've figured it out, and this is what makes sense, this is what's reasonable, and I'm miserable, and I don't even want to get out of bed because I don't love this. I don't love it. You got to find something that inspires you. You got to find something that you love, something that to you just looks so good that you kind of can't resist. If you want to know what to do with your life, go out into the world and fall in love. And I don't just mean with another person. I'm sure that'll be part of it, but fall in love with something that you just are so inspired by, which enamors you to the point where you want to give to it. The highest level of that, of course, is your vocation. Did you fall in love with the church? Then maybe you have a calling to the religious life. Did you fall in love with a person? Then you have a calling to give your life to that person in marriage. But then there's the lower level stuff too. Did you fall in love with maybe the experience of healing people? There's the medical field. Did you fall in love with helping other people grow in knowledge? Maybe you should be a teacher. Did you fall in love with building something with your hands and seeing a satisfying result, look into the trades. Do you fall in love with being outside in nature? The career follows. Find something that you fall in love with and go that way, because then you'll be motivated. And you know what? All like the rational calculation stuff, especially the economic piece, like the financially, it'll work itself out. It'll work itself out. So I just think, I love that when Fortinbras comes in at the end, because he's so clearly like the guy who followed what he loved, and he's the guy who didn't overthink anything. And Shakespeare puts him on the throne at the end, and everyone else is dead. It's actually so clear. Don't be a schemer, a plotter, and a planner. And here's the last thing, the beautiful thing. If you manage that, you know what you're finally going to be able to do? You're finally going to be able to live in the present. You're finally going to be able to get up in the morning, start your day, and just have a day. And be satisfied with it. And be 100% all in on that day. So that when you go to bed at night, you don't say, I wasted opportunity A, B, and C because I was thinking about what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, or 2 years from now, or 10 years from now. No, you can say, I was present to the people who are right in front of me, and I did the work I needed to do, and I went on the adventures I was supposed to go on, and I didn't spend time worrying about things I don't know and I can't control. It's a little scary because you have to let go, but suddenly you find that's what an adventure is. Suddenly you find yourself in places you never thought you'd be, and they can be wildly exciting. Living peacefully in the present is the goal. Like, that is such a valuable thing to be able to do. It's so hard and counterintuitive for us, but if you're not a plotter, if you're not a schemer, if you're not a planner, you won't die to that part of yourself. And you'll actually be able to just go on the adventure that God has appointed you for, which will be so much more fun, so much more satisfying. And I don't know where it goes. I have no idea where you're all going to end up. You're very capable young people, and I'm excited to see. But I think the first challenge is just accepting that, there is a plan for you. And you don't really get to decide what it is.